in the introduction, I promised you a cyber play. That's what we're going to do now. If this goes well next year, it's Data Protection the Opera, so stay with us. When I say play, it's going to be more like a radio play. It is going to be like The Archers does a cyber incident. The reason for that, candidly, is so that we can hold our scripts and we didn't have to learn all our lines, because there's quite a lot going on. Right, so let's make a start. It's hypothetical. I would like to introduce a company called Neonix. It's a hardware gaming company. They produce retro games to allow massively multiplayer gameplay online. All your old favorites, Asteroids, Space Invaders, Frogger, showing my age. And users all over the world can play these games. So it produces this hardware device, the Neonix One, that you plug into your TV, and you need an account to play the games online. So in terms of account setup, it prompts you for a username, password, obviously. It also collects date of birth. Because it's a gaming company, it's going to be dealing with children's data. It needs to think about who's on the platform, so it collects date of birth, as I say. And then it goes through an age verification process, not unlike Yoti, if any of you have worked with that. So the user, when they're signing up, is encouraged to upload a selfie. And then also, you don't see this that often, but they're encouraged to upload a scan of their passport as well. And that enables the age to be verified and the identity to be verified. So it's sort of fairly typical for what we see for certain aspects of this. And they're quite a decent-sized company. They've got about 5,000 employees located all over the world, and that's a mixture of headquarters staff, sales staff, development staff, with locations in each of the countries listed there. Now, we're very lucky today because we happen to have the CEO here, who is... I'm going to get a giggle. We have the CEO here who is going to talk us through an upcoming product launch for the next version of the product. So I'd like to introduce you to the CEO, who will be played by Freya.
Thanks very much, Mark.
And
nice
first thing we have to do, as it's a gaming scenario, is get Freya to choose her avatar. So you can be Alan Sugary, the Bro Whisperer, or Pixel Fury, the sophisticated female CEO.
Hopefully there's no contest there. I'm going to go for Pixel Fury, please.
There we go. Excellent. Right. Well, now, Freya, perhaps you would like us to tell us about the exciting product launch we've got going on.
Great. Well, welcome everyone to Neonix HQ. I'm guessing most of you will have seen Neonix One in action already. It's been around several years, so maybe you've seen it on TikTok or Instagram. Your kids probably have one. You probably bought one for your kids, but it's actually for you, gaming into the night. I know the types. But you're super lucky because we're about to launch Neonix 2, our super next generation console. And I'm going to give you a quick preview. Isn't that... No, not now. Sorry, where was I? Right, so after a runway success with Neonix 1, we're expecting this to be even huger. I mean, it's going to be like the biggest moment for our company so far.
Freya, I think Jamie, our head of InfoSec, would like a word.
Very much so.
I'm not sure, Jamie.
Jamie, please, head of InfoSec, let's choose your avatar.
Sorry about that.
You can be Captain Firewall, Trent Compliance, or Eleanor Fitzwise. Who's it going to be?
It can only be Captain Firewall.
Good choice.
Right. Now we've got that out of the way. What the hell? Like, this is the worst possible timing. These people are here to see our product launch. This is going to have to wait, whatever it is.
It can't wait.
Surely it can.
It really can't.
Okay, fine, we'll spit it out. I'm really sorry. Just give me 2 minutes. Like, what's going on?
We've seen some unusual activity on our systems. Unauthorized activity.
What? I mean, how unusual?
Very.
So what are we talking about here? A ransomware attack?
Well, we haven't had a ransom demand as of yet, so I don't think we can call it a ransomware attack.
Okay, thank God, thank God. Okay, so which of our systems are affected then?
We can't say yet.
Okay, well, have we lost any data?
We can't say yet.
Is any user data affected?
We can't say yet.
Is it, a thingy?
A thingy?
A cyber incident?
Yes, it's a cyber incident. It's a cyber incident. So we need to follow our incident response plan.
Oh my God. So that means we've got to go through that plan that we put in a drawer where we have to like get a team together and get some forensics in and then tell like the whole world we've had a data breach.
Yes, we need to follow our incident response plan.
Are you crazy? I mean, have you forgotten about the product launch? I mean, these guys probably need to leave. Like, but like GDPR, forget about it. This is going to have to wait till Monday.
Perhaps Jamie, our CISO, would like to tell the CEO what we know at the moment.
Luckily, I brought my notes with me. So here's what we know. In the last 24 hours, we've seen anomalous activity against the user account layer.
In English, Jamie.
We've seen unusual activity in the back-end infrastructure responsible for handling user access. We've also seen a high volume of repeated authentication attempts targeting account management endpoints, originating from a range of and rapidly shifting IP addresses.
No, English, Jamie, come on.
Okay. We've seen lots of attempts to log into users' accounts, possibly using credentials obtained from the dark web. We don't yet know if any user data has been
English,
exfiltrated.
for God's sake, Jamie.
We don't know if we've lost any data.
Oh, okay. Well, if we haven't lost any data, what the hell is the issue?
Okay, so we seem to have a slight difference of opinion between our CEO and our CISO regarding whether this event even qualifies as a security incident to which the response plan would apply. So we are going to, I should have warned you actually, you need to get your phones out. We are going to put this to you for a vote via a Slido poll.
Whoa. Before we do the poll, before everyone votes, we've got to define our terms. It's a room full of lawyers. Everyone needs to know what our terms are. So a security incident under our plan is any event that compromises confidentiality, integrity, or availability of systems or data, or violates security policies, or poses a risk to our customers, employees, or the business. So now we know what we're talking about. We can do the vote.
No. Before you all vote, like, remember why you're here. The product launch, the biggest event in our company's history. Let's keep that completely at the forefront of our mind. The potential impact on our company if this comes to light. Like, this, the last thing Neonix needs right now is a PR disaster.
Okay, thank you both. Let's now move to a vote. Please take out your phones, QR code, and vote away. So we've got declare an incident now and follow the incident response plan. We've got wait until after the Monday launch, then declare an incident and follow the plan. Or we've got continue investigating and wow. We're not needed. These guys know what they're doing. Excellent. Thank you very much. Right. So, we got it's changing. It's changing. Wow. I don't know what to make of that. Okay. Well, we got a majority, fairly healthy majority, in favour of declaring an incident. So that is what we're going to do.
Thank God for that. Right. Here's my incident response plan. It's a very well drafted plan. It's got multiple phases. There's lots to think about, lots to do. But first, and I've been waiting for this moment, Avengers assemble. We've got to get the incident response team together. So we're going to need me, obviously.
Yep.
We're going to need someone from IT Ops to help with containment and recovery. I think we're going to need the GC involved. Someone from comms, because there could be a PR angle. We don't know if employee data has been affected, so we might need someone from HR. And obviously we need an exec sponsor, so I think that's going to be you, Freya.
Definitely.
Right. Well, we're not going to have somebody playing each of those parts, as this is mainly a legal scenario. We are, however, going to need our general counsel. So let's welcome Mark to the stage. Mark, please go through the slightly awkward avatar choosing process. You can be misdemeanor, the gator, or calm authority. Who'd you fancy?
Will this be the hardest question?
Yes.
I'm stumped. I think I'm going to have to go for calm authority, please.
Excellent. Right. So we're going to see in the company is it's following its plan. It's taken the site down, which the CEO is not happy about.
I mean, I'm fuming.
And don't forget, from a GDPR point of view, we need to tell the data protection authorities. There's a 72-hour deadline. I remember that from the GDPR training.
What?
We've got to get a wiggle on.
Oh my God, no, now I'm absolutely fuming.
Whoa. Hold your horses there, Captain Firewall. We barely know any facts yet.
Right. Thank you both. What do people think? Should neonics notify the data protection authorities? So let's poll again. Simple yes or no. Okay, mostly no. All right, excellent. Would our general counsel like to explain why he also believes there's no obligation to notify the data protection authorities?
Yeah, I'm with the majority. So there's some suspicious activity, but at this point, are any user accounts implicated? Do we know that user data has been compromised? Do we even know in which countries this is actually going on? And that 72-hour notification deadline, that's an EU thing. So if we just look at what the EU guidance says about that, we all know this. It's an awareness test. Are we aware that there's been a personal data breach? And in this context, what we're looking for is a reasonable degree of certainty that that's what's happened. On the other hand, we definitely do have a duty to be thinking about how we get to the bottom of this. So we need to investigate it urgently.
Finally, Mark, some common sense, like take a step back, breathe.
Okay, so what you've heard is that we don't have to notify now, but on the condition that we have to get a wiggle on and conduct an investigation. So how are we going to do that?
Right, we're going to need some help. My team is completely overstretched. You've given me no budget in the last quarter. We'll need to get some external forensics in. Leave it with me, I'll sort it out.
Hold on there, Captain Firewall. These investigations have quite a lot of things going on, especially if they involve a third party.
Okay, but can we at least use the guys that manage our service already? They already know us. It's going to be much quicker if we just get them in.
So just talk me through that. I mean, are they not going to be marking their own homework? And you're the one who's always telling me about that distinction between there's IT people and then there's information security people.
Fine, whatever. I mean, you're in charge. You're clearly enjoying yourself. You're going to need to tell me we need to keep our internal comms to a minimum, aren't we? No emails to each other, legal pigeons only.
Jamie, you have been listening to my legal training sessions. I'm very pleased. Yes, that's quite important. We don't want a trail of terrible problems in all the paperwork in our documents. So yes.
And I suppose I should also expect one of those emails from the preserve all evidence emails that you're going to send telling us that the business is a crime scene and we're not allowed to delete anything.
I'm practically redundant, Jamie. That's correct again. That's right. Preserve evidence. That's good. It's important to recover and protect our systems. But ideally, yes, we want to do it in a way that we're going to preserve the evidence because we don't know where this thing might end up.
Okay. But can we at least get a full set of recommendations from the forensics folks, please? I want a proper shopping list of what we should have done and what we need to be doing now. I've been saying this for ages. I've had absolutely no budget. We need to invest in upgrading our systems and security. This is my moment.
I'm not your favourite person today, Jamie. I don't think so. I can't protect a report like that with privilege. We wouldn't be commissioning that with the purpose of getting legal advice. Okay? So there's no legal advice privilege there. I don't think we can credibly say that that kind of document is in contemplation of litigation. There's no litigation privilege there. And fingers crossed, we're nowhere near litigation and never will be in this scenario. So look, I understand why you want a full forward-looking report like that. Now is not the time. Trust me on that one. A report like that is just going to be a long list of potentially of shortcomings for the data protection authorities to look at.
Okay. I will defer to you. A more limited report then. Do I at least get to see it?
You'll be the first one to see it, Jamie. Okay, that's a lie. The third, probably. Anyway. And look, here's one I did earlier. So just to summarize where we've got to so far, we know this already. Control your internal communications. As far as that forensic report goes, keep it factual. You don't want speculation in it about what might have happened, what could have happened, what you think may be happening. Above all, we don't want a shopping list in any internal communications or in that forensic report. of stuff that might come back to bite us. Preserve evidence, fairly simple point. Keep me involved. There's a good chat.
Okay, so let's assume it's all gone well. We've got our forensics report. It's factual. It's not speculative. It's not a shopping list. Perhaps the head of IT security would like to talk us through what we know so far.
Sure. So here are the headlines from our forensics report. We've seen a sophisticated attack, probably not pure hacktivism. Looks like the attackers have likely used botnets or cloud services to launch a large-scale distributed attack. They've used a broad range of rapidly shifting IP addresses to overcome our intrusion prevention system. Basically, what they've done there is it's much harder to identify lots of IP addresses, each making a small number of requests, rather than a small number of IP addresses making requests for a massive amount of data. It looks like they've managed to access about 115,000 user accounts. That's a mixture of live and dormant accounts. And they've got hold of some data associated with those accounts. In terms of the impacted data, it looks like usernames, email addresses, and passwords. It looks like they we're not 100% sure yet, but they may have been able to get passport numbers as well, but not the rest of the information on the passport and not the selfies that were taken. In terms of the affected users, they're located in countries all around the world. I've got some rough user numbers here. And as a reminder, even though our network is down so no one can access anything, we have suspended all the affected accounts. So now do we need to notify the data protection authorities?
Well, we're very lucky to have a very knowledgeable audience with us. Why don't we ask them? But before we do, let's remind ourselves of where Neonix has its establishments.
Mark, I think you also need to be reminding our audience, if they're the ones deciding what we're doing, that notifying anyone at this stage is just going to be a PR disaster.
Okay, you heard the CEO. Let's move to our next Slido poll. Which DPA should Neonix notify? None. Every DPA where there are users, only the DPAs in the UK and EU, or the DPAs in the EU, UK, and seek advice for the other countries. I'll just give you a minute or two. So we have got 83% at the moment saying tell the DPAs in the UK and EU and seek further advice regarding US, Canada, and India. Smallish number saying we should do it everywhere. Smallish number said don't tell anybody. And again, a very small number also thought maybe UK and EU. Fantastic. So, Mark, would you like to explain perhaps why notifying the DPAs in principle is a good idea?
Yeah, fine. Let's start then from an EU point of view. So just looking at that rule in the GDPR, a pretty simple rule to begin with. If there's a personal data breach, you need to inform the data protection authorities unless it's unlikely to result in a risk to the affected users. Quite straightforward, quite clear. In this case, the number of individuals involved, the fact that there's passwords involved, we don't know admittedly yet whether the passport numbers are involved. We can't say a risk is unlikely. That's the conclusion that all except a couple of you have come to, I think.
And what about the question of which data protection authorities?
So there's a list of factors to think about there. And I want us to take a risk-based approach. And so if we think about how and where are the users distributed, Neonix is huge. And we've got users practically everywhere, all over the world. So some of those will be in countries that probably don't even have a data protection authority. And some of them will be, you know, a long tail of a tiny number of users in those countries. I'm interested in, can we just quantify, where do we have a physical presence, either a company or other assets on the ground? I think it's reasonable to have a think about which are the sophisticated DPAs out there might be able to help us, and to look at the track record on enforcement of the various DPAs. So if we take those factors into account, I think we're talking about the UK, the EU, Canada, US, India.
But if we're including the EU, I mean, that's 27 notifications. It's not exactly a simple exercise.
Well, so if we can take advantage of, let's think about the EU, our biggest location, France. Freya's on a plane or a train there, practically more often than you can shake a stick.
Love
That's
that.
basically where we've got, our de facto EU headquarters. So we should be able to rely on a one-stop shop. And if we notify in France, that's it for the EU. Now, I know what you're going to say. We do have a significant presence in Ireland. The Irish are weirdly formal about setting up the one-stop shop. So if we were going to notify them, we would have had to have gone through, I'm going to call it a bit of a process already. It might take quite a while. We haven't done any of that. I mean, I might add one other thing, which is, I mean, the way they keep finding Meta, I'm not sure we want Ireland anyway, do we?
Okay, right. Well, can we talk about the US for a second? Because they're another huge market for us and they're crucial to the success of Neonix 2.
Let's play good news or bad news.
Well, I'd like to start with good news, please.
Okay, well, the 72-hour thing is not really a thing in the US, so we might have a bit longer.
And that's the good, right,
That's the good
okay,
bit.
that's the good news. So what's the bad news?
Well, I think we're going to have to go state by state, so depending on where our users are based. So in some states, we would have to notify users individually, writing to each of them. In other states, we'd have to go and inform the state AG. And in a few of them, we'd have to do both.
Oh, great. So what is even going to happen once we've done all of that?
Well, we have a good chance that as soon as we tell the state AGs, one of them will publish it on their website, and then we'll get a class action filed against us.
Even better.
Probably on the same day.
Right, so let's just recap. So what I'm hearing in the US is that we've got the choice of complying with the US laws, and in that case, we're just going to get some immediate class action. Is there another option? Well, what if we just don't comply with the US laws?
Yeah, I think if someone finds out, we'll get a class action.
Okay, well, this just keeps getting better and better. Okay, well, let's just leave the US to one side for a minute. Going back to the UK and the EU. So I'm guessing that now all this has come out, we're just going to get slapped with a massive fine for a data breach.
So the CEO raises an interesting question, which is there a breach of GDPR at all on these facts? So again, we're going to ask our audience. So please vote away. Simple yes, no, can't say. Okay, so the vast majority are on can't say. Mark, would you like to explain why we would say can't say is the right answer?
Yeah, that's an interesting conclusion. So I think on one hand, you've got a breach of the GDPR in the sense of, is there a security failing, a failure to reach the appropriate standard of security under the GDPR? And then on the other hand, and I'm talking, just to be clear, about the original security measures which pertained at the time of the incident. And then on the other hand, you've got a personal data breach, and that's more of a factual state of affairs. Has there been an unauthorized processing of personal data, unauthorized access, unlawful destruction, all that stuff? So when you look at it like that, a personal data breach just requires that unauthorized processing that might be caused by a security failure, but on the other hand, it might not be. So essentially, you can have a breach of GDPR, which isn't necessarily a personal data breach, and vice versa. At this stage, and I think most of you have concluded what I've concluded, we don't really have enough information about the appropriateness of our security measures. I know Jamie wanted more budget, but what we know is that the forensic report identifies more or less how the attackers got in, but hindsight is a wonderful thing. The fact that we can now think of other measures that we could have had in place doesn't necessarily mean there's been any breach of GDPR.
Okay, well, this is positive. This is positive, right? So what I'm hearing is not necessarily a breach of GDPR. So, okay, maybe not as bad as I thought. So the plan is we're just going to notify the ICO. We'll notify in France. We'll have a think about the US, Canada, and India. That's it.
We may need to tell our users.
What? No, are you kidding me? Why would we do that?
Because it's the right thing to do.
All right, keep your hair on, Captain Firewall. No one asked you. Why? Why do our users need to know what happened? Mark?
Well, from an EU point of view, I mean, we need to notify them only if it's high risk.
High risk to the rights and freedoms. Right, well, God knows what that means. So, any idea?
Is the risk to our users high? All right, I will concede that the guidance, the EU guidance on that is not very useful. I mean, it's got lots of examples. It doesn't have very many criteria that you can apply. Maybe the best way to think about it is this. What's the main point? What's the purpose of notifying our users if we made that decision? And that's to provide specific information that they should take to protect themselves.
Protect themselves from what?
Well, you tell me, but I think the main risk here is probably identity theft. I mean, could the bad actors perhaps use those credentials to combine them with other data they might have access to, impersonate some of our users, that kind of thing? Let's recap what we do know, what we don't know. I think what we understood is that the selfies, not involved. Passport numbers, we don't know for sure yet that they've been compromised. I would add that as far as passport numbers go, we keep them only for 30 days. So if they have been compromised, that would affect only a small subset of our users.
Right. So even if passport numbers have been affected, which we do not know, what can someone do with just a passport number, realistically?
Probably not that much, maybe.
Fine. And we've already taken steps to protect our users because we've forced that password reset. So everyone's locked out. No one can get back in before they change their password.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with either of those points. I think we definitely want to keep the risk under review. If it emerges, as I say, that passport numbers have been taken, and I think we're probably saying a bit more than that as well. We're probably agreeing on that. That might tip the balance in favour of notifying at least those particular individuals, not necessarily all of our users.
Okay, so we've heard from Mark what to think about when you're considering high risk. We've heard the fact pattern. So we thought we'd go to another poll. Who would inform all the affected users here?
Well, I'm just going to interrupt you again, Mark, because I do think that our audience needs to have at the front of mind what we're talking about here. Remember, we're only talking about username, email address, and password. Maybe passport number, but let's just discount that for a moment. As you've heard from Jamie, there's nothing that you can do with that anyway. And from my perspective, if people are stupid enough to use their password on our platform for other things, that's their problem. And we don't want any class action, guys, in the US.
Okay. Final reminder. Right. Who in the audience is going to be notifying people? So here's our choices. Send an email to every affected user informing them of the data breach in detail and requiring them to change their password. Get them all to change their password. Do nothing. Yes, write to them, but only do it for users in the UK and EU. I'll give you a few more seconds just so I can make sense of what you've said. Okay, it's settling down. So we've got overall a majority for sending an email to every affected user informing them of the data breach in detail and requiring them to change their password. That is very, very interesting and not entirely what we expected. But Mark,
You're handing that one to me.
Yeah. Why don't you sort this out? Mark, why don't you tell us about the approach where you don't write to all the users, but you require them all to reset their password? Why would that be okay, do you think?
We concluded that that was an effective way of protecting our users, whether they're using the same passwords elsewhere or not. We're just going to force a reset, at least on our own systems. That's what we've got control of. And bottom line, that's what we decided was probably the most effective. And then we've taken a view, some might say a bullish view, but on what we understand at the moment, that if the passport number in fact has been compromised, that's probably not sufficient to make it high risk in our view. That's the line we're taking.
Okay, and we've got 10% saying they would only notify users in the UK and EU, so differentiating between their users. Why would we say that's not normally such a good idea?
These guys are gamers. I think they're going to talk to each other. I think it's going to be quite hard to do anything other than notify or get in touch with all of them if we're going to get in touch with any of them.
So treat them all the same.
Yeah, it's going to come out.
Yeah. Beep, beep, beep. Oh, God.
What's happened?
Oh, I can't believe this.
What's that?
The press office have just got in contact. Some annoying journo has got whiff of this story, got whiff of the attack, and they're threatening to publish. Look, here's the email. Everyone have a read. So basically, they've heard from sources that Neonix has had a cyber attack, and they're asking us for comment. It's going to blow the whole thing wide open.
Okay, so one of the considerations when you're thinking about the whole notification strategy and notifying users is partly thinking about, well, is it going to be in the public domain anyway? If it is, maybe telling users isn't such a big deal. So it looks like it may come out at this point. So we thought we would just rerun our slightly mad poll here and see if we get a different answer. So this is the last one, I promise. One final vote, please. Can I just say, as a slight aside, I love the fact that there's people saying do nothing. Whatever. The building's on fire, everything's going wrong. It's just like, can't hear you. Do nothing.
My kind of people.
You are our kind of client. Let me just say that. Right, that is awesome. Thank you. Right, we're coming to the end of our scenario. Anyone who's, many of you, and some of you I've worked with in these situations, will know that once you've gone through a data breach, you learn quite a lot. So I thought it'd be interesting to understand what our board here have learned as a result of this. Let's start with Captain Firewall.
Okay. So aside from learning that I need to bring a hairbrush with me on photo day, I've obviously also learned that the CEO only cares about PR and money. But more seriously, I've learned that preparation, including using skilled external parties, is absolutely key here and is worth the time and effort. Have a plan in place, practice the plan ahead of time, maybe in slightly less light-hearted circumstances than this, and make sure it works. There's just going to be far too much going on when the incident happens. There's the investigation, containment, keeping all the different stakeholders happy, managing PR, managing all your notifications. You're not going to be able to spin up a plan on the fly. But also your plan needs to be sufficiently flexible. Every scenario is slightly different. So I was quite gung-ho at the beginning, got to notify the DPAs, it's 72 hours. Bit of flexibility. We had a bit more investigation to do before we got to that stage. And sort of looking through our plan, learning lessons, looking at all of our previous experiences of data breaches is going to stand us in good stead to manage it the next time it happens.
What about you, Mark? What have you learned?
I think I've learned that our CEO cares only about PR and money as well. It's quite good because I've got stock options, so I'm okay with that. I think Jamie made the point that practice makes perfect. I mean, if you think about it, we've barely scratched the surface of one of these incidents. We haven't covered ransomware. We haven't covered supply chain issues. We don't even have any NCSC isn't in there. We don't have non-data protection regulators in the mix. And yet we were debating quite a lot of points in real time, which is time you can ill afford when you're in the hot seat. Probably one other thing I've learned, which is it's a bit of a truism, but nevertheless I'll say it. It is this handling these incidents well is a team sport. As you saw, I didn't agree with everything that you guys thought, or more importantly in this case, my colleagues. But we had a good dynamic, I thought, where some good issues surfaced, which are important to sort of take in the round. So, I mean, Freya and that question about what's the difference? Is there a difference between a personal data breach and a breach of GDPR? And of course, all the class action stuff as well.
Finally, Freya, our CEO, what have you learned?
Well, I've learned that no one's on board with me, thank you guys. But no, it's true. I've been sceptical throughout this exercise because I've been focused on the product launch and not really wanting to engage in the incident. But what I've learned is, so it's important not to jump to conclusions and, you know, take the right steps at the right times based on what you do know at those times. And things are moving very quickly. So that is having to be constantly reassessed. And then just building on Mark's kind of team sport kind of analogy, well, you've got all these different perspectives feeding in from your stakeholders in your incident response plan, and that's okay. They're all there to protect different interests in the company. So while Mark was very much focused on like the legal tests and what, you know, what would be required or at least defensible from a legal perspective, I, on the other hand, was thinking about comms and how to kind of limit the damage to the company every step of the way.